Hi, I'm Kristen McClure, a licensed clinical therapist, and I'm making a video today about guilt. This is something I talk about all the time with my clients, and I've actually had several sessions today where I talked about guilt. So, guilt is an emotion, and it's not a fact. It is something that can be helpful if it's giving you information about something you've done that's actually bad and morally wrong. However, often we feel guilty when we haven't really done something that most people would agree was objectively wrong. So we feel guilt for a variety of reasons. Usually we feel guilty because we've been programmed with belief systems and messages from our childhood that we've carried into adulthood. I deal with my clients making lots of poor decisions out of guilt and challenges in our therapy sessions, because when we start to make progress and they start to make good decisions, such as standing up for themselves, setting boundaries, moving in the right direction in their therapy, they'll talk about feeling guilty when they make those choices. So one of the things that I teach them is emotions aren't facts. They're really clues. You want to think about, when you're feeling guilty, about whether or not it really maps to the situation. So ask yourself this question when you're feeling guilt. Would most reasonable people, when you describe the situation to them, would they say that you've done something objectively wrong that you need to make amends for, or learn a lesson from, or somehow possibly be punished for? And if the answer is no, then your guilt is not legitimate. And you need to work on letting go of that. So that's really something that I am repeatedly finding myself teaching my clients. So I'll give you an example. If you're driving drunk and you hit someone, that would be a situation where there could be a reasonable degree of guilt that would map to that situation, and you could potentially learn from and could be informative. So you may stop drinking and driving. You may make amends for that situation. Reasonable people would say that's not a good thing to do. Your guilt is legitimate, and even possibly you may face punishment for that. If you have an argument with a parent where you try to be assertive, tell them that you feel something that they've been doing is unreasonable, and you feel a tremendous sense of guilt for that, or you try to set boundaries around workplace hours, you're not bringing work home, you're trying to do fun things on the weekends, you're standing up to a friend who's been potentially taking advantage of you. These are some of the things that my clients might feel guilty for, but are actually reasonable changes that they may be making. And you share those scenarios with a group of people. Those behaviors are not objectively, morally wrong. So reasonable people would not say that standing up for yourself or setting boundaries are behaviors that are wrong. And so those are just different behaviors, and you may have been programmed not to express your feelings, not to set boundaries, to be a people pleaser. And so it's going to be natural for you to feel guilty because you've been taught to feel guilty. The more you engage in new behaviors, the smaller that guilt will become. So that's what I teach my clients when I help them with distinguishing between healthy and unhealthy, legitimate, and I call it legitimate versus illegitimate guilt, remembering that emotions are not facts, and you often have to stand back and reflect on them to determine whether they accurately map to the situation. Thanks for watching.